India's economy grew at its slowest pace in 1.5 years between the months of April and June. GDP rose at an annualised 7.7% rate. Now, they're slightly above the analysts' expectations, but it is well below the Finance Ministry's 8.4% forecast. Well, Bundeep Rangar is chairman of the India-focused business consultancy IndusView. He joins us via webcam from Zurich. Good to see you, Bundeep. We did expect growth to slow. Is this a sign that high interest rates are beginning to bite?
Absolutely, yes. Good morning. I guess it's partly the high interest rate, but it's really the underlying inflation that they're trying to combat via the monetary policy tool of interest rate that's taking its toll. And of course, the worldwide recession doesn't help because it's pulling down exports.
You mentioned inflation running at over 9%. Where does this now leave the central bank?
Well, the central bank increases the key lending rate 11 times since last March. So it doesn't leave a huge amount of room for it to do anything more, because any further increase in interest rates, as you said, will crimp GDP growth even further. And as it is, India's got the fifth quarter now that it's cooled off in terms of slowing down growth. And against its target of 9 to 10% growth and being one of the key BRIC economies and in terms of its growth prospects, that becomes highly suspect when you've got slowing growth, high interest rates, and high inflation. So India's got a serious challenge ahead of it.
You mentioned this is the fifth quarter that we've seen growth slow. Do you think this is a trend that will continue? Is the Finance Ministry being too bullish in its forecasts?
I don't know if they're being too bullish per se. I think there's certainly a resetting of expectations in terms of what the overall growth will be. I suspect it's going to be more in the 7 to 8% quarterly zone growth as opposed to the kind of 9 to 10% predictions. And with some of the worldwide commodity and oil prices cooling down, if that's, of course, aided by any food price cool down, that should help India combat its inflation price. And with lowering inflation numbers will, of course, help India lower its cost of borrowing. And that could, of course, support growth. So that's the optimistic silver lining, provided you get lower commodities, lower fuel, and lower fuel prices.
Bundeep, for now, thank you very much indeed.